just giving people the credit that they deserve for doing cool stuff. And I think like for as fun and as loose as we try to be, I think equally we're trying to give the people that are making cool, awesome work the platform to be like, yeah, I made that. It was sick. Like, you too can make really cool work. That's what this industry is all about.
In today's world, how does a brand break through the noise and become iconic? Join me, Jason Harris, as I speak with the world's leading marketing experts about how they use soul and science to build an iconic brand. Think of it as EQ meeting IQ. So let's lock in and together fast forward our marketing minds on the Soul and Science podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode of Soul and Science, we are diving into the heart of industry disruption with Geno and Jack, co-founders of Breaking and Entering Media. We'll explore the soul and science behind successfully breaking into a very competitive, very unpredictable industry like advertising. We're going to learn from their experience pioneering a new type of media in a stressful time for the industry. And I believe, I say this to them all the time, I think they're bringing the goddamn fun back to the industry that we desperately need that fun. Welcome to the soul and science of breaking and entering. Welcome, fellas.
What an honor.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jason. Great podcast voice. That was awesome.
You sound great. You look great too.
Thank you. It's the award-winning Soul and Science podcast. I would like to find out, I start every podcast this way. I want to know each of your origin stories and how you broke into the industry.
Geno, going first here. I figured out I got caught cheating in a math class, and then they forced me to go into, and I kind of weaseled my way into accounting. And at that same time, I realized I kind of like the business side of this world, but then I was watching Mad Men as well, and I liked the creative side. And I thought that advertising was like a perfect mix between business, creativity. So advertising was my pathway, dead set on it. I wanted to be in account management. I knew as early as senior year of high school, but my parents were not in advertising. So I just made every decision after that to try to be an account executive at a big ad agency post-grad.
And where did you go to school?
We both went to University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign.
And what did you study?
I studied advertising with a public relations minor and a media sales certificate, whatever that means.
What does that mean?
Jack, did you know you wanted to go in advertising?
No, I studied finance in college. And I went into commercial banking, like analyst role. Like that was what I was doing after school.
Where?
A bank called CIBC, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. So that was an interesting start to the career. And then I was doing risk consulting at a company called Protivity for a few years. All during that time, I was living with Geno. Geno and I grew up together, went to school together, lived together at school. And then Geno will probably talk more about it, but he had this podcast that he started in 2020, just interviewing advertising people. And through osmosis of like helping him out with that and hearing all the podcasts from our shitty Wrigleyville, Chicago apartment, I started to help him out and get like kind of this interest in advertising because there is a significant difference in like the work I was doing and what I was seeing Geno talking about in the advertising and creative world that felt super intriguing to me. I think having that like perspective of, I know what it's like to put on a button down shirt and Lululemon ABC pants and go type numbers for 8 hours a day. And so like the advertising industry to me feels so different and so exciting that knowing where I came from, I was like, this is way sicker. How do I get closer to this?
The podcast started in your Wrigleyville apartment. How did you like start it and record it and get guests and distribute it and all that?
I started it before that, like while it was right in the midst of that pandemic. Like it was, the first episode was April 16th of 2020. So I was home for spring break as a senior in college. Didn't get to go to Cancun or like any of those fun places because of the pandemic. So I'm sitting in my parents' basement in 2020, March and April, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I spend my time that's a little bit more useful instead of watching Tiger King, instead of like doing those Zoom happy hours with my aunts and uncles, like making mocktails and stuff like that. And I noticed on one of those Zoom happy hours that there's a record button on Zoom. So then that's where the idea kind of hit me. Like, I could actually record some conversations. I've already been doing that with those informational interviews, like throughout college, like just record them, help out my peers, help out my friends, try to get jobs too, and just kind of pass the time.
How did that turn into, we're going to make a go at this and turn it into a business? Like when was that? Like, did it slowly happen, or was there one day where you guys like went out to dinner and you're like, let's turn this into a company?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, honestly, the Geno won Young Advertiser of the Year from Campaign US. That was March of 2024. So like a year and a half ago, a little over that. And as fate would have it, his boss couldn't go with him to the ceremony in New York while we were living in Chicago. So he had an extra ticket, and I weaseled my way into like that free New York trip, and got to go to like the campaign gala award ceremony thing. And like, I don't know, I mean, you've been to these award ceremonies, like it's kind of, in New York, like there's a lot of pretty big names, and like kind of these industry leader types. And so for me, I saw them all kind of like talk to Geno and like chumming up with him. I had never even like met my company's CEO or anyone above middle management in like my 3-4 year career at that point. And so I think we both kind of realized that that was a pretty interesting launch point to at least be like,
you were a little Geno jealous.
of course, Geno jealous with a G, Geno jealous. But I was like, shit, this is crazy. Like all these people are interested in talking to Geno. And I thought that was like a huge moment. And I think for both of us, like, at that time we were both like 26, 25. And it's like, we are fortunate enough to where if we were to like take a big leap of faith to like start a business, the worst thing that was going to happen is like, we're going to go live with our parents in our hometown again. And so obviously like it's not lost on us that we are in a fortunate position like that. And then we were kind of like, Geno's got something here. Don't really know what it is, but let's like go for it.
It was crazy. Like being in New York, I think that had a spell on us of like being from Chicago and like going there to the award show. And then after that, just getting on calls with like our trusted friends in the industry and like mentors, like Rob Schwartz was like one of the first people that was like, you have something here, do this. Like you should quit your jobs and do this. Like he was one of the first people to say that. And then he coached us. How do you make it like a pitch deck? He taught us like all that stuff and like kind of mentored us and still does today.
It was on that trip when you got the hardware and you guys sort of maybe on the plane back drinking some Bombay Sapphires or whatever, you're like, let's go for
it. Pretty much. I mean, I think we spent the next, few months going to that summer saying to ourselves, like, well, let's see what we can do with this. So that pretty much just meant like talking to different people, like Geno was saying, like trusted advisors or like agency folks that would listen to us to just try to figure out like what we could build. Cause like, it's not like the podcast was like cash flowing. It's not like we were really making any money at all. So there wasn't really a business there. So we spent like 3 months pretty much figuring out everything that we couldn't do. And really just trying to figure out like if there was a business case for like a podcast and the things that you could do to like try to really like support ourselves and make money. And so I would say like when we eventually did go for it, we went out to all of our friends and family and pretty much asked if they would chip in to invest in us. And so we raised a little over $50,000 across 33 people that believed really just in Geno and I.
That's awesome. I love that. And that sort of was the capital to move to New York and try to start something and float you for a little bit, get an apartment.
Exactly. Yeah. Floated us for probably like 3-4 months. And
And Havas was nice too. Like I was working at Havas at that time, and like they were moving offices. And I don't know if I said this on a podcast already. This might be the first time I'm saying this, but Havas was moving offices at that time, and in Chicago. And I asked my former boss, I was like, "Can we take some stuff like to New York?" And she's like, "Absolutely. Like whatever furniture you want, we'll get you TVs. You can take like anything you want in this office." And
I'm really surprised you picked such shitty furniture.
such the crate and barrels were nice. Those are nice for sure.
They let Gio have the furniture because they knew he'd be back in like 2.5 months. Once
Right.
this,
Well, no, they're throwing it all out. They got brand new nice stuff. But no, we took the whiteboard from them. That like is what we're known for today. It's like that was a last minute pick. So we had a truck show up to Havas, Chicago, the day before we took our flight. And then we had these guys drive it to New York, and in that truck was the whiteboard that we still use today.
That's amazing. You're still doing the podcast. You obviously do the 60 seconds. When did it feel like something clicked where it became, you're like, oh, this is like a real business now?
I don't know. The business part, I think, kind of like always lags a little bit, right? Like the business lags the content. I think when I felt like we really were capturing attention and then ultimately like drove business results was around the Super Bowl last year. I think like we
got The Office. I feel like that was
yeah. Hey, that's a good question, I guess.
When did you get The Office? And you're talking about the Super Bowl in February? This year?
We were working out of the 1-bedroom apartment. We were sharing a 1-bed. Jack was sleeping in the living room. We both had twin beds, and like we were working out of that from September to January. So in January we moved. We found like we're in like the Regis right now, a shitty Regis on Madison Avenue. So I feel like that was when we got here on Madison Avenue. That was a cool moment to like go to work on Madison Avenue. One thing, but then that's like when we started the Whiteboard News because we just had more space to run around and we're just super active and like caffeinated all the time. And I felt like that's when we started capturing the attention, was like when we started the Whiteboard News.
And you feel like people started watching that every day and commenting?
Yeah. I mean, they really like, they started to do well and people were getting attention. And then you do like we did like a halftime of the Super Bowl rundown of all the ads, and that got like 500,000 views on LinkedIn, which was like something we hadn't experienced before. So we hit like that, that mass reach to where you're like, okay, there's, I guess, an audience out there for it. And there's an audience that's interested in what we're doing. So that felt like the first time where we were like really building.
One of them got like
an audience.
Didn't one of the like 60-second news get like 2 million views, like, or 2 million impressions on one video? Like that was wild.
So what was another like turning point moment where you felt like, I don't know, maybe it was getting like the Air sponsorship, or
Geno's about to give the best answer of 2025.
Oh,
he's gonna check our notes, and yes, go for it.
All right. The next one is Wall Street Journal article of us when we were at Cannes.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was the next like turning point. That actually allowed us to like hire an employee, I think. Like that was big time.
Yeah, that was really wild. That was a really interesting story, and I think just the more so like the behind the scenes of it all coming together, because that article kind of happened because Megan Graham, who covers the ad industry or the marketing industry for the Wall Street Journal, was working on a different story, and apparently like through that work and just having a few conversations with ad executives in New York, we just kept getting brought up apparently, and I think people kept. That's at least the story I've been told, and so just the fact that was happening was the first time where we had gotten that confirmation outside of the digital world that like that there was a buzz, or we were encroaching on conversations and people were paying attention to us. And so I think that was like, because you get so stuck in this echo chamber in this shitty Regis co-working space, you don't know if you're actually
There's no windows.
I think because people in the industry are talking about you guys, right? And people are reaching out to be on the podcast or giving you ads to profile, right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, so you kind of see that there's traction. What is the hardest thing about running, breaking, and entering?
The hardest thing is like running and managing a team. I think like Geno and I have gone through a lot of growth in what it means to manage other people. I think it's the first time we've ever run a media company, as far as I know about Geno. I know I've never run a media company before.
Same, Jack.
Yeah, so it's like
Well, you guys pretty much have lived together your whole life, so you would know.
it wouldn't be impressive if Geno was able to hide that. But like I never, I can't speak for Geno, but like at least in my career, I've never like meaningfully managed someone where like I'm actually their boss. It was always kind of like, I'm advising maybe, or like kind of helping someone out. So it's the first time where like, we have to steer the ship. And
You're responsible for other people.
right. Like, that's when it became very real. I would say the company, when you shift from, okay, it's just Geno and I's asses on the line, to now we have like really, like employee or like people that are dependent on us for their livelihoods and their rent.
And tell me what your angle is. Obviously, the name Breaking and Entering and the podcast was kind of started as helping younger talent break into a hard to break into industry, if I got that right. Tell me about what's behind the name and maybe how it's evolved.
I mean, it originally was, and it still is, to help people break in and thrive into the ad industry. That's what it's all about. And at first, the podcast very focused. They're still focused on who are you, what do you do with your job, how can you be successful at your job, what's your advice to the next generation. Now we're just focusing on getting the best content out there and teaching people about the ad industry, celebrating the content. It's still informing people, and information that we're putting out there can help people thrive in their jobs. Yeah, and like all of our guests are willing to connect with the audience too, so we're still helping people get their jobs. We have all their stuff for the next generation college students as well.
Where do you guys see yourself going in the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years? Do you see Breaking and Entering staying in the industry but having different verticals? Do you see it expanding beyond the industry? Maybe you don't have a plan yet. Maybe you're just kind of rolling it as you go. Do you have like a master plan?
No master plan really.
Okay.
Like that's that built out, but besides like world domination, but that is like that's a different conversation. But I think, to answer your question, I think all of those things can be accomplished through our content of like helping people break in, make the industry seem less intimidating, and also help people that are currently in the industry get what they need to know efficiently and in an entertaining way, and also inform people who are interested in marketing about what the best work is and who's making the best work and where they're at and what the agency is. So I think I think all those things we can accomplish, and it's just a matter of just creating a workspace and a platform that lends itself to like fun, engaging, entertaining, low ego content that people can relate to, so that you can get your friend or get your parent to understand what marketing is if they go to our Instagram, or you can find out really like insider news if you're someone who's deep in the industry really quickly. If you're a senior copywriter, you're really ambitious, likely you don't have an hour every day to find out what advertising news is going on, nor would you feel inclined to, because it's extremely like hard to really sift through all the different stuff that gets out there. So our hope is that we create content that is digestible and quick and fast, has some energy behind it. And if you're super busy, you can just go to our page and get everything you need to know, so you can have a talking point, so you can be aware of the headlines. So when you go into a client meeting, you can explain to your brand side partner the importance of creator partnerships on YouTube because of the recent campaign that just came out.
Yeah, or your first job interview. Like you can go in and be like, hey, I actually saw that you did this work, or I saw that you have this new hire that can help you there too.
I feel like the industry in general has gotten harder and tighter, not as loose. And I feel like you're bringing some of that loose, fun energy back to the industry, which I think sorely needs it. But I don't know if that's because I'm older and like jaded as fuck or what. But I do feel like you guys are bringing a little bit of the fun soul the industry maybe lagging.
Thank you.
I don't know if people will tell you that all the time or if you hear that or what.
No, definitely, and that's great to hear. Like it's exciting, it's validating for us to hear that. And I think like on the side of like there's a reason why people are jaded and like everyone has their own experience with the industry and like whatever it may be. But I think at least a small part of that might be fixed by just giving people the credit that they deserve for doing cool stuff. And I think like for as fun and as loose as we try to be, I think equally we're trying to give the people that are making cool, awesome work the platform to be like, yeah, I made that. It was sick. Like you too can make really cool work. That's what this industry is all about.
Do you have any prevailing advice if like someone graduating would ask you for advice? Do you guys, because you've done so many interviews?
I got three things.
This is the Geno trademark.
This is my thing. This is what I do in every presentation. People will pay a lot of money for this. First step is you have to nerd up. You have to know yourself and know what job you want to get into. Once you do that, then you can work up. You can build that portfolio, that skill set, that craft to do that job that you've identified. And then the third thing is to cool up.
What's cool up?
Cool up is once you got work up and nerd up, like then it's cool to be good at something, passionate about something, like
okay,
a passion project. For me, it was a podcast. It could be I had a buddy of mine who started a Chicago nachos review Instagram page, and it helped him get his job at Digitas.
Oh, that's cool.
So that would be like a part of the cool up.
Love it. All right, moving on. How do you guys decide what projects to take on and what projects not to take on? Is it just sort of like gut level? You guys chat about it and you're like, oh, this seems cool. Let's go to San Francisco, meet with these 4 agencies. Let's do that ad for X, Y, and Z. Is there a lot of thinking that goes on? Is it gut? It seems like you guys operate on your gut a lot. What's your creative process to take something on?
Now there's 2 ways. We're talking about 2 things. I think you're talking about like projects like that bring in revenue versus like our editorial content, right? Like what goes on the whiteboard.
Yeah, we can do church and state.
Yeah, I think all of it's like what is interesting to us and like what's good for our audience as well. Like, will our audience like this? Is this entertaining? Is this educational? So it's a mix of that, like what we want to do and what we think the audience will benefit from. But for like the whiteboard news and like on the journalist, if you want to call it that standpoint, like Jack and I are getting really good at knowing what's going on with the industry and what really matters, like what connects with what. Like, you know, if somebody gets like if a CMO gets fired, we might talk about that because we understand that the agency might shift and there might be a creative review there. So we have like these little cues that we've started to learn doing this every single day for 100, 200 days in a row of whiteboard news coverage, that we see the little through lines that we can kind of pull out. So that's just something that, like from the editorial side, that we see stuff that not everybody else sees.
Yeah, it's all gut. It's all gut. We don't have like a credo or like a ethos. But if we did, it would be, I'm going to think about Ken Bates, who is a senior copywriter at FCB Chicago. Yeah. And he's super busy. What does he need to know right now? So like on any given story, any given piece of creative work, you kind of like want to put yourself in this position of someone if they're going to be willing to give you 60 seconds for example, like the 60-second news, if someone's going to give you 60 seconds, we need the jam pack. Like we need to actually give people something to take away from it. And then when you think about like other stuff, like going to a city and doing like a city tour or like doing like a variety hour with Air, it's like a lot of times, honestly, a good one is, has this ever been done before? And do we think it would be fun content?
What sets you guys apart from the rest of the industry media space?
I think in a lot of ways, at least for social media and short form content, it's about how you distribute information. I think we built our platforms social first. We are, to use a classic ad or marketing trope, we're meeting the audience where they are.
Okay, look at you.
Thank you, Jason. Was that good?
That's impressive.
Thank you.
And we're just buddies. Like, we know, like, we can get on camera, like, and shoot a video with, like, no prep, and, like, we kind of can read each other's minds. Like, there's, like, that dynamic on camera.
Like, I know he's going to throw the microphone right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch it behind my back.
Yeah,
I'm going to act like I'm tripping on something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like I because of maybe the way like we grew up, or maybe I grew up of like watching SportsCenter every day. Like I want to make people in the industry feel like they're watching the SportsCenter version of advertising and marketing, and like have that energy. Because like, why not? I don't see why. Like, it's not illegal. It's not illegal to have energy and excitement and passion about something. And so I think we really, really are intentional about trying to bring that to the content that we make. And hopefully that separates us. And then through that, I think, we've been super fortunate that people like yourself, Jason, have become comfortable with being on camera with us and allowing us to have access to at a C-suite level. And what's been really, really cool is when we get feedback about like, wow, I didn't realize, Mark Pritchard, chief brand officer of P&G, was so funny. Or like, I didn't know he played basketball twice a week. And so my hope and our goal is that by creating this like excitement, energy, this platform that like people can trust, that you end up actually getting insights into executives that you never would have otherwise.
Are there concerning things happening in the industry that you guys want to unearth or think about or bring to light?
The AI, like, not to be lame, but like, I do worry about like agencies and marketing side, like just throwing infinite money at AI research and development without having any sort of implementation plan or like real definitive like use case for it. I think what you're seeing is everyone is in a race to like get AI, so that we can say that we have AI, so that everyone will think that we're using AI, our clients, our shareholders, everyone. And then what's going to happen is like you kind of get a year or two to just throw money at it, like this grace period almost, so that you can say like we're investing in AI for future cost cutting. And then you're going to like see, I worry that like agencies or marketing or brands or anyone is going to run in this situation where they're like, oh shit, we just use all this money and we don't actually know what sort of economic advantage we're going to get with AI, because we never thought to like think about how this would best benefit our organization. And so I worry about like, in the meantime, the carnage that would take place of like, well, we can lay off some employees because we know AI is going to be able to do this. And then you run into a situation where you're like, well, actually AI isn't doing what we thought it would for us. So now we're kind of screwed.
You think there's a lot of money being thrown around without a lot of what's the point and where's the end game?
Yeah. I mean, you not having a plan is like the worst thing you can do. Like no implementation plan, no idea for like integrating it. So you're just like, well, we'll just buy this company, or we'll just get this software and just hope that it works out. And it's so new, nobody knows what the best use case for it will be.
What advice would you give people your age that maybe it's not about advertising, but doing things on your own, being entrepreneurial?
Well, I mean, I've never been asked that before, and I usually kind of mind my own business. Like, I don't really like, especially if they're in their other industries and stuff. Like, I don't know how the finance industry works, or like what it's like in like accounting, or I don't even know what other where else do you work? I don't know. I just think like what I hope that I kind of bring to them, I don't know if I have or do. It's like being passionate about what you're doing, about your industry, and just trying to nerd up as much as possible about what you're doing. I find it very interesting when people tell me about their jobs, like what the deals that they're working on, if they're in another industry. Like, I hope that they can see like the motivation, the passion that I have and Jack has for advertising. They can apply it to their own industry, and like they'll just be better at their job. They'll get faster promotions, faster raises if they just have that energy and they find that passion back in whatever they're doing.
In my opinion, what I would get from you guys is don't just follow the conventional path. Be a little disruptive.
Yeah, it's been if nothing else, I've learned a shit ton. I mean, I've learned more from doing this, and I think Geno would say the same. Our life trajectory has completely changed for the better, in my opinion. And you're just and like I'm set up for a much better career because I decided to go down an unconventional path. And so like anyone out there, like if you're in your 20s, like why not? Like if you have the means to do it and like you can and you're okay with like living in a shitty East Village apartment for a year, like go for it. Odds are you're gonna be better off anyways, even if it tanks and like by standard metrics fails, you're set up for a much better career path as a result of going and actually trying something and putting yourself out there.
I think that's great advice. And I think also you mentioned this earlier, Jack, but I think doing it when you're young and the fall's not so high is also smart. What's a business challenge that keeps you guys up at night?
I think the content social media game is so fickle and it could change and like the algorithm will change, consumer taste will change. What keeps me up at night is how are we staying fresh? Are we doing the best that we can from the content side to continue to grow and compete and build our audience?
What keeps you up at night, Geno?
Oh, just like boring stuff, like compliance stuff, like taxes stuff, like all the disgusting stuff that could, if not taken care of properly, can get in the way of the creative process.
Geno, do you have a mantra or quote that you live by?
No, I don't.
Jack, you want to take this one?
I don't. Jack, do you have a mantra that you live by?
Yeah, I've been liking the this Bob Dylan quote about life's not about like finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. So instead of it is pimp. So instead of going and like, finding yourself, so to speak, and like, finding this certain path or whatever, like just create it. And it, take control maybe is probably a good way to sum that up. But like, that life's not just gonna happen. You have to go and create it. And I think that's super powerful because like, I mean, I was doing finance and consulting. I was in a very structured path, and I like to think that I tried to create a different path and go a different way.
Can you appreciate where you are right now? Or are you always thinking about the next thing?
There's like 3-minute blocks that I have, like probably like 3 to 5 minutes every day. I'm like, oh shit, like yeah, we're in Madison Avenue right now. Like there will be moments that hit me, and then it's looking at the present, looking at the future, like all those things. But yeah, even like I think it's mostly on Sunday nights when I get actually really excited to get back in. I'm like itching to get back in. Then Friday I'm like tired from the work week. But Sunday nights I get ready. I'm amped up to get back in the office.
That's a good sign. What's the best thing about starting a business with your BFF, and what's the hardest thing about it?
I would say like we obviously trust each other inherently. That's probably the best part. Like I could never imagine like not really knowing my business partner really well, having to think about does he have the best interests in mind? That never crosses my mind. And probably the worst part would be like, I don't know, we're always thinking about work and we live together and stuff like that, but that's always fine too. Like we still go out and have fun. I don't really know what the worst.
Yeah,
part is.
I don't know. The worst part, besides like,
The worst part is that we're in New York and we're not with all our Chicago friends, but that's also good too because we're not distracted by our other buddies.
honestly, the worst part is every time we mention it, people every single time ask, "Do you guys ever fight?" Every time, everyone wants to know if we fight, and like, no,
I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that.
know, and I appreciate that.
But I was about to ask that. I'm gonna say a word and say the first word that comes into your mind. Don't fucking think about it. Jack, first word that comes to mind. Advertising.
Money,
Geno, brand.
deals,
Jack, activation.
performative,
Geno, ROI.
Return on investment.
Fine. Jack, AI.
awesome.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think overall AI is awesome.
I do too. Geno, billboard.
Oh, news.
Jack, campaign.
U.S.
Geno, Super Bowl.
Money. Fucking can't wait.
Fucking- Jack, Clio Award.
Great.
Geno, creative brief.
Strategy. Let's go.
Jack, pitch.
Theater.
Geno, breaking.
And entering.
Jack, entering.
And breaking.
Fine. Big fan of you guys. Love what you're doing, bringing the energy, passion, and fun back to the industry that direly needs it. Thanks so much for being on the Soul and Science podcast.
Thank you, Jason.
We love you,
You're
Jason.
the man. Crushed
You're the
it.
man.
Great stuff. Subscribe.
Soul and Science is a Mekanism podcast produced by Maggie Bowles, Ryan Tillotson, and Lily Jablonski. The show is edited by Daniel Ferreira with theme music by Kyle Merritt. And I'm your host, Jason Harris.